Hi there, my name is Anna. I am founder of TOO.BADASS branding agency, and we're going to talk on what specialists you need in design niche and in branding niche. Let's cover it. And at first, I wanted to comment that I forgot that I was drinking tea and I started to talk to my tea as if that was a microphone. So that's the funny part. And it's the first time when I'm recording something outside, so I hope that everything goes well and I won't have a lot of interrupting noises or anything weird. Okay, what designers do you need for your business or for your brand to cover all your needs? We consider ourselves to be creative partners, so we take the most responsibility and we are responsible definitely for the results. And I consider this to be the highest level of executive, like a highest level of people in design niche, brand designers who are responsible not only for visuals but for the strategy, and they can make decisions themselves. That's who we are, creative partners. Now there is difference in between different designers. So the first type would be graphic designer, and these guys do visuals. They do logo or illustrations or packaging or merchandise or all the stuff that requires some knowledge of colors, of typography, that requires some knowledge of logo, of drawing with their hands, with pens, with on the computer, whatever. The second type would be web designer. Those are people who are creating websites. That's that's definitely it. And web designer is a person who does mock-up or prototype to be designed, because there is also a different part of being a web developer. So if you're confused in those two, developer is the person who writes code and designer is the person who creates the design. Sometimes one person can cover both, but you have to make sure to ask them whether they're covering it. The next type would be UI and UX designer. So UI is user interface. It's all about apps, programs being convenient and comfortable to use, and UX is no, it's the opposite. Yeah, it's the visual part, and UX it being convenient. If you know the packaging for sauces, in which tomato sauce goes in the US, it has like a plastic jar, and there is a plastic end of it, and if you sell your jar of tomato sauce in a glass packaging, it's not convenient to use. It's UI because it's beautiful, but UX is when you have the bottom of the sauce would open up so that it's easy to spill it. So to put this on your food. So it's UX part. It's convenient to use, and there are other analogies. I hope that you can Google it and understand it more if that was not clear enough for you. But UI is about beauty, UX is about comfort, and when they both come together, it's a UX designer who thinks about app or program or whatever that he makes being beautiful and comfortable. Now, the next designer would be product designer, and they mostly work in startups or where they have a responsibility for the whole product from the start, from the zero till the end. But what is the difference between now creative partner, as we are positioning ourselves here, and product designer? It's really close, but there is some difference. So we position ourselves also like in terms of position as an employee, as a brand designer. Why? Because we come up with this strategy for the whole brand. So we can come up with a strategy of brand pairing that would work for your social media and for your website, and for maybe you have another landing page, or for your channel on the YouTube, or all the digital platforms where you have representation. They all come together in one strategy. That's what brand designer does, and he covers all the graphic design and web design and UI and UX design and product design. Brand designer is covering it all. Now, product designer cannot do strategy for social media, or brand designer cannot do product designer. I am trying to explain that to you, and then I mix up the words somehow, and it all becomes unexplainable. Now, product designer would be responsible for creating the app from the idea to its implementation, and he will check in and check out with the development guys, to see if the results are working. Now, we do the same, we do it all, but we do even more with social media, with the strategy, with the logo, with packaging, with whatever you need. I hope that it made all sense now. Let's review that really quickly. Graphic designer, he draws. Web designer, creates websites. UI and UX designer, he works with apps or websites, but he makes them beautiful and convenient. Product designer, he's responsible for the product from the start to the end, but only for apps, for websites, for like SaaS or something like that. And brand designer is working with a brand on a continuous basis since the start of the brand. Like, business was born, and then we create a brand, and then we can work on a subscription or retainer just to maintain the brand and to have all the visuals aligned across platforms. That's it. Okay, now why am I having this conversation with you? Because I wanted to point out the difference first, and then I wanted to tell you how we are beneficial here. If you need somebody, if you are caring about the quality of your product and you need to delegate the decision making in design and branding field to somebody, we are the agency. Because we are a creative partner, and there is difference between being just an executive, being just worker, and creative partner. Just worker, he would not make decision himself. He would be executing whatever you say him to. And what if you do not know what you should be doing? How do you, you are taking, when you are hiring just a freelancer who is not capable of decision making himself, he's not a creative partner to you, then you are taking, somebody has to take those responsibilities. You are the one taking them, and you are the one now making the decisions in the niche which you do not understand. Maybe you have an experience, that's other topic, but right now we're speaking in terms where you are not familiar with the design niche or the branding niche, and you care about the results of your business. So it would be wise to hire A players for your team in order to get A type of results, and hiring somebody who can make decisions in a branding and design niche is really wise, isn't it? How did I saw the difference between us or other freelancer? It came from the experience, really, because I did not, earlier on, I didn't think that it would matter who we are. Are we just a designer? Are we just an executor? Are we just a worker or creative partner? But we used to be, not we, I used to be personally, back in the days, this worker who would do whatever client says, and it's easier. When clients disagrees with you, it's easier just to do what he says, and then he'll be satisfied. But the result won't be worth it, and as I always say, will not be adding this project to the portfolio just because we hate the project. And that's the most common mistake that I did in my whole life. And I had situations when I would work on a project, and then client would go and consult some really cool top level branding agency and come back to me with the result. And you know what I was getting in the result? They said that the initial design was the best, and we should return back to the design that we had and not make any changes that were made in the process. And that was the best compliment that I ever received, and the worst criticism at the same time, because it proved that I can make a decision, and I know that my decisions are worth it, but I cannot stand by them. I cannot be a creative partner in relations with this client. And that's where I am losing and the client is losing. Everybody is suffering from that, from my inability to take the responsibility for my decisions and stand by them, stick by them, right? So that's where creative partner comes from. Now, I had a couple of more calls with other freelancer where we'd have different positioning. We had a client So a call with a client and two designers. Yeah, some situations like that happen. And I try to position myself as a creative partner who makes half the decisions or all the decisions in this niche that I understand. And another freelancer, he was saying that client is making the decisions. He's just the hands. He just does what he's set to do. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's can I say that's bullshit? Okay, that's gonna be rude, but I'll say that it's bullshit. I totally do not agree with that. That's super weak positioning. That's him not valuing himself and his knowledge, and even taking away from his development and growth that is possible in the niche. Because when he's just the hands, he's not responsible for the result. It means if result gets ugly, he's not the one to blame. It's really safe position, but nobody benefits from it, nor not him nor the client. And I wanted to comment one more thing about it, but I forgot. Yes, being creative partner takes some time, strengths. You have to maybe argue your way through that, but the employee who doesn't need guidance on every step of his way is more valuable to the company than employee who's asking about directions all the time. And that's true. Nobody wants to stand by some guy and micromanage them. It's not how people on the top want to spend their time. That's not how you as a client want to spend your time, isn't it? Micromanaging people, that's stupid, because you cannot have all the time in the world to control everybody, because you are losing your own time to this thing that you do not understand, and you have to learn it from zero. Why do that if you can have creative partner? So yeah, that was the whole insight for today, and I wish you a good day. Maybe I'll record a couple more videos because I'm in the mood to talk, but that was it for this video and for this topic. Take care.